It's about 11:30 on Thursday, January 8th, 2024. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a scene here. So I'm looking north. The wind is at my back, and the side-by-side's blocking some of the wind too. But the reason why I want to take this video is not to show you off my beautiful sheep and the dogs that are actually with the sheep doing their job. But I wanted to show you this. Let's get down there close. I'm going to get on my knees. So this is the early spring growth, late winter, I guess you could call it. And just all the different kinds of plants that are growing here, I can't even begin to identify even a fraction of these. I think maybe this is some kind of crabgrass there, right here. This I think is maybe baby ryegrass or something. And there's some clover. I can see a tiny clover down there too. I don't know if you guys can see that. But there's all these other things, and you know, these puppies sure don't like me touching them, but when I get close to the ground, they sure want to come close to me and make noise. Let me just kind of stand up and give you a survey of the scene here. Let's go over here and take a look at some more stuff. Try to protect the microphone from the wind. Here the grass is a little bit darker green, a little bit thicker. This field was basically dead by October. Not dead in that it had no life, but dead in that it didn't have enough grass for me to graze. And I patiently waited all autumn for something to grow, but that just never happened. And so I determined to just, move the cows through, graze whatever hay is left. But then I think it was in November, I saw some pretty good growth in the eastern part of my field, in the southern half. And I decided, rather than let the cows get to it because they would have destroyed it, sorry, puppy decided he wanted to walk under my feet, that I was going to let that grass grow and hopefully, get some more growth out of it. So this area hasn't really been touched except by the sheep since, I want to say mid-October. I'll have to go back and review the videos. But so we're here in early February, the first half of February. That's 4 months that I haven't touched this field. And I've been in emergency mode, basically, feeding hay and keeping the cows on a sacrificial lot. Last couple years that I wintered, I would move the cows to the pasture anyway. The assumption was that they wouldn't eat the grass if they had feed or hay, but that's just not true. The cows will eat the grass, no matter how little there is. They will kill it if you give them the opportunity to. So this year, starting June of last year probably is when I really discovered this idea, but then I wanted to do it again. A puppy decided to go under my feet. Get off. So I stopped that. If there wasn't enough grass to graze, if I wasn't comfortable that the cows would leave plenty behind, I just wouldn't graze. And I would find some other excuse or something to do instead of grazing. And so that's what I've done since last year. That was kind of the guiding principle. Now, this isn't, right now looking at this, I'm not super happy. It's like nothing is growing, not really growing very much. I expected grass up to my waist by now. But I think I'm just being a little bit too optimistic, expecting that. It might take a couple more years of carefully grazing before I really see growth. Then again, last year and the previous year, we had a pretty good spring growth. And so despite my mismanagement and the grazing, we did pretty well. So maybe the grass is just hiding underneath the soil, putting roots down, taking what little solar light they can collect and converting carbon dioxide to fuel, burying that in their roots. And who knows, underneath there could be this fantastic structure of mycorrhizal fungi and bacteria and all kinds of things, insects, tiny insects, just going to work, doing God's work of converting basic chemicals in the soil into actual life. And so if that's the case, then hopefully come springtime I'll see some fantastic growth. But that's the goal, is really to get the soil healthy. Healthy soil will be able to provide all the nutrients the grass needs, and then the grass will carry those nutrients from the soil into the mouth and the belly of the cow. And so we should have superior meat with superior nutrition, right? And I think that's the idea that people have nowadays, is the reason why we're all obese Yeah, it probably is some of the foods we're eating. But I think it has more to do with the fact that it's almost impossible in America to find nutritional food. Like even organic stuff doesn't really have that much nutrition compared to regular food. Organic's just a label. It's just an excuse to mark things up. It doesn't actually, like there's no significant difference between the organic stuff and the non-organic stuff, right? What's happened, I believe, is that starting in the 50s, we started fertilizing our fields with chemicals. Poisons, literal poisons, that if you fed your animals, they would die, right? And we did so thinking that the plants were a machine. They were a biochemical process, right? That you can do the same sort of thing that grass does, but in a lab, right? You just get vials of this and vials of that, mix it together, apply some heat and technology, and voila, you get magic growth. And sure enough, the poisons did cause the grass to grow. The fertilizer did cause the grass to grow. But the cost was the soil. We were killing our soil. And by killing our soil, the plants were unable to get the nutrients they needed to be strong and healthy. And then the problems came with the diseases and the bugs and the weeds. Like you can't control the weeds anymore. The corn just can't compete with even the tiniest weed. And so that at that point, we decided that the solution, rather than saying like, hey, maybe it's wrong to fertilize our fields, maybe we should go back to the way our ancestors did it. We decided to double down, right? So we applied even more chemicals in even greater quantities. And so what do you think would happen if a little bit of poison was killing your fields? Well, a lot of poison would definitely kill your fields. And so a lot of these farmers nowadays, they're farming in dead fields, which is just chemicals. It's just minerals. It's not, there's nothing living in the soil. Everything's dead. And so they sterilize the soil and they plow it to kill it. They put chemicals down to kill it. And then they plant bioengineered plants that are specifically designed to resist the chemicals we put in the soil. And then we grow those crops and we sell them as food. And we don't even think to compare how the nutrition of that new food grown with modern, scientific advanced techniques compares to the old food. But when that comparison has been done, it's been shown that our food lacks nutrients. It lacks critical vitamins and nutrients that our body needs. And I think that's the reason why, diabetes and, obesity and all kinds of other issues, health issues that we have in our society is caused by, not by overeating as much as caused by eating food that isn't really food, And so the regenerative movement is all about farming using natural processes, letting nature do her thing, rather than trying to stop nature and kill everything we see. We're going to encourage it to grow within the realm that it's designed for, And so we want to grow healthy soil. And healthy soil, we know for a fact now, is able to deliver all the nutrients a plant needs, right? There are people out there growing more crops with no fertilizer than they grew with all the fertilizer in the world, right? Now, granted, you have to use a different technique. You're not going to plow your field and then, sow your seed and expect results. You have to stop your plowing. You have to regenerate the soil using what they call cover crops and biodiversity and things like that. And, they do things like rather than plow the field before planting, they roll the field. They push the grass down to the ground, and then they go through between the grass that's been knocked over, and they plant seeds. And they plant, two kinds of crops together. Like they might plant corn and then hairy vetch together, hoping for some kind of simpatico, like sympathetic response. And they're finding that, if you plant A or B or C, it doesn't do very well. But AB does pretty well, BC does pretty well, AC does pretty well, but ABC does even better. And there's people out there experimenting with like 10 different kinds of species, And here on the grazing side of things, right, we're not planting anything. I could. Lots of people do. But my goal is to encourage the grasses that are suitable for this environment to grow. My goal is to use cows as the tool to basically complete the cycle so that the grass can be turned into manure, can be turned into nutrition for the next generation of grass. And the technique that I'm using is called rotational grazing, as you guys all know, but more importantly, twice daily moves, and only moving onto an area if there's plenty of grass there, right? And letting the grass grow otherwise, okay? And the backstops I'm using are, I have back 20 over there, my neighbor's back 20. That's my emergency stop if I run out of hay and everything else. I'm using hay, and when I feed hay, I have to supplement with protein, cottonseed meal. And I'm trying to keep the cows moving to keep the parasite count down, trying to keep the sheep moving for the same reason. And then when the grass comes, I'll be rotating through it and leaving behind plenty of manure and plenty of healthy grass that can regrow quickly. So that's what I got for you guys. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.